These two blacksmiths had no idea they were posing like gods. German photographer August Sander deliberately recreated Velázquez's painting The Forge of Vulcan from 1630, transforming ordinary workers into mythological figures. Sander was building an ambitious archive called People of the 20th Century, photographing every type of person in Weimar Germany, from farmers to bankers. But the Nazis hated it. They saw his honest portraits of German society as a threat and destroyed his work. 7 years after this photo, Hitler took power. By 1944, Sander's son was dead and his studio bombed. The blacksmiths in this picture? We'll never know what became of them. Look at those prices on the wall. A full meal cost just 30 cents. That veal cutlet, the hamburger with dessert, and a drink, all 30 cents. But here's what the menu boards don't tell you. Diners deliberately changed their look in the 40s to attract women and families instead of just working men. Notice everyone's wearing hats and suits, even at the counter. This was the new, respectable diner. These lunch counters became civil rights battlegrounds. Throughout the 60s, black customers staged sit-ins at segregated counters exactly like this one. That empty stool beside the man in the fedora? In some cities, a black person sitting there could get arrested. The chrome fixtures gleam, the coffee's hot, and America's about to explode. That elegant cage on the floor killed 3,000 women in England alone during the 1860s. The crinoline, made of steel hoops and horsehair, was supposed to free women from layers of heavy petticoats. Instead, it turned them into human candles. Florence Nightingale watched the carnage unfold. She estimated at least 630 women burned to death in just 2 years. A 14-year-old kitchen maid named Margaret Davy reached for spoons on the mantelpiece. Her dress ignited. She was dead within hours. The coroner's verdict: accidental death by fire, caused through crinoline. But women kept wearing them anyway. The cage could hide smuggled goods, unwanted pregnancies, even weapons during the Civil War. It forced men to the edges of sidewalks, claiming public space that had never belonged to women before. 2 of Oscar Wilde's half-sisters burned to death in their crinolines. Longfellow's wife too. And still, the fashion wouldn't die. These 2 women are winding wool by hand. Within a generation, a machine would replace 95% of their labor. The spinning jenny, invented just decades before this photo, could do the work of 60 spinners at once. What took a worker 50,000 hours to spin by hand could now be done in 135 hours by machine. Yorkshire's cottage industry was dying, and these women knew it. By the 1820s, every scrap of wool in England was spun in factories. But the weavers, they kept working at home for another 20 years, desperate to hold on to their independence. They watched the mills rise across the valleys. They heard the steam engines. They knew what was coming. When their work finally moved into the factories, children as young as 9 could legally work 60 hours per week. Night or day, it didn't matter. The law didn't raise the minimum age to 12 until 1901. She looks calm, almost regal, but the hat tells another story. In the early 1910s, this mountain of feathers wasn't just fashion. It was status, defiance, and sometimes scandal. Each plume could cost as much as a week's wage, plucked from rare birds hunted to near extinction. Women wore these creations like armor, towering symbols of luxury and rebellion in a world still ruled by men in top hats. But behind every fluttering feather lay whispers of protest, the birth of movements that would soon change how women dressed and how loudly they could stand out. The air smelled of horse sweat and coal dust, the heartbeat of Manhattan in the 1890s. Carriages clogged the streets like blood in the veins of a city that never slept, each wheel creaking toward modernity. The towering buildings whispered of fortunes made overnight and lost by dawn. Yet just beyond the clatter, something was coming. Quiet, invisible, unstoppable. Within a single generation, the horses would vanish, the carriages would rust, and the city's pulse would be powered not by hooves, but by electricity and ambition. They move in silence, 7 riders and a lone dog, dwarfed by stone walls older than time itself. Canyon de Chelly doesn't just rise, it watches. The cliffs have seen centuries pass, nations fall, and promises broken beneath the same unrelenting sun. Edward S. Curtis caught them in 1904, a moment between two worlds, one fading, one advancing. The shadows stretched long across the desert floor, as if trying to hold on to what history was about to erase.